when you get a nice thing, some people are afraid to let that go because they feel like there's not another one out there that they will be able to have. So they're like, oh, let me just hang on to this one because I'm scared that if I lose this one, there's not gonna be another. And that's all about, you know, optimism and self-worth. You have to know that there's gonna be somebody else out there. There's millions of people, I'm gonna find somebody. And two, I'm worthy, like I am good enough to find somebody else that sees that in me.
Wow, that's literally what me and my therapist talked about yesterday. What I learned is like self-inflicted though. Because I meet these people and then they meet basic needs and I get swept off my feet because of that. And then we get into the relationship and I'm like, well, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. I'm like, well, you should have checked that off before you got with them.
Yeah. Remember back in the day, if you gave me one problem, bye, on to the next.
We switched.
But like now, I see people as human. I don't expect people to be perfect anymore. Because I just realized I'm not perfect. Now that we focus on everybody else, Ronald.
I'm just here to observe and judge.
Honestly, Ronald, come on, the people want to know.
The people do want to know. Like I'm inconsistent.
But how do you expect for it to get to that point if you don't go through those?
I don't.
Are you?
Y'all like relationships. I do not like that.
Is it that you don't like relationships or are you afraid of commitment?
Listen, Oprah. No. That's not it.
Well, have you considered it?
Why are you facing that way?
I'm going to turn around. You just gotta let me do the intro first and then I'll...
Oh.
Okay, you ready?
Like I'm in the back seat.
You are in the back seat, bitch. I play the front, you play the back. Period. What's up? It's your boy Tuh-reek Ali. Welcome back to your boy's channel. How you doing? How you feeling? I hope you're feeling positive, sexy, confident, all of those things. I hope that you're complimenting yourself and all of that. So I'm here with my best friends, right? I always talk about relationships and dating and stuff with y'all. And like I did that video like, what was it, 2 months ago? A couple weeks ago? I don't know. But I did this video about relationships and why I love being single. But I've never like really explained like my process of dating. Like what it's like dating Tuh-reek Ali, like, you know. Because I'm like really unorthodox, like it's look, my phone. I need to turn off my phone. Hold on, y'all, hold on. Oh my God, not you really, y'all texting while I'm filming. Y'all are on camera. Oh my God,
You can't see us.
They can't see y'all. I told y'all that. Anyways, look, this is supposed to be a fun video. We're gonna get right into it. I wanna talk about the dating process with me, my friends' dating process, what they do in their dating process when it comes to all of these different things. This is just gonna be a fun video, okay? I don't have anything written for this. We're just gonna have a good time like old days. And yeah, I'm gonna move from right here and go sit down with them so we can talk face to face and y'all can be more intimate. And we're gonna pour some wine, okay? So let's go ahead and get that started right now.
You know, the bonnet is just the African-American beret.
Very true.
Okay, y'all ready?
So the question, so it's about this, you asked us about your dating life or our dating life?
Both.
Okay.
So today we're drinking the rest of this Sauvignon Blanc because this is all I got. And yeah, I haven't
That's what I got you?
Yeah, this is, I got this like last week.
I got you Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, you gave me Pinot. I finished that like the next day. But anyways, y'all, so let me just tell y'all, okay, so look. I remember I told y'all I like dating without the intentions of being in a relationship. I do not date to marry anymore. I do not date.
Right. Wait, so what's off limits in this? Because
there's nothing off limits except
just names. Names are off limits.
Names, no names. We can talk about everything. I want it to be organic, real. Keep it real.
They ain't gonna bring the kings in this.
Okay.
Ronald, you can keep it real, bitch. See, that's one thing about Ronald. He's an Aries, and he knows everybody else's business, and he's in everybody else's business, but nobody knows anything about his life. And
you don't need to.
Why you don't need to?
You don't need to know my business. Ain't no business to know. Don't see my thigh.
Oh, sex sales.
But anyways, so look. I like dating without the intentions of wanting a boyfriend. And what people don't understand about that is meaning I like to go on dates. You know, that can be a dinner, that can be a brunch, that could be you coming over, I cook, I come over there, you cook. And we're having a good time, we're enjoying each other. But that doesn't necessarily mean we building towards something. You know what I mean? I feel like people go on dates and they meet these people, and like even if they fucking, they feel like they have to be going in a certain direction or going towards something or to be in a relationship. And I just believe in having a good time. Like if we just having a good time, why can't we just sit here and have a good time? Why we got to think about what comes after this?
You believe
when did you
that
get to that point? When did you get to that point? Because you were always there.
I feel like I've been here. Okay, the past with my
No.
yes, with my last relationship, y'all, I wanted that.
Okay, so between the last relationship and how you were before that, what switched? Because at first it was
dating to marry. That was before.
Right.
That was before. We could say Jalen's name, but Jalen. That was before Jalen. And I've told
he helped you put that. He helped you put things into perspective on that.
I think to give context, y'all, Jalen is this guy that I dated like, what was that, 2 years ago? 2 years ago? And we met and we like really hit it off the first time we met, and we wasn't like meeting for anything. We were just meeting to meet, have a good time. We had dinner, and then boom, we ended up having sex the first night. Boom, we had, okay, look, let's be real. We had sex the first night, and then we just got to know each other, but we didn't have any goals of anything. We were just having a good time, getting to know each other. We loved each other. We had good convo. And we ended up talking for like 9 months, but never got in a relationship. There was a point where we were emotionally exclusive, but we were emotionally exclusive, but not sexually exclusive. But that's only because it was more of like I don't know, if he wanted to emotionally invest in someone else, I wouldn't have been offended by it. But we knew that we didn't want that. So we kind of just was like, I'm only fucking with you, you only fucking with me, cool. So like, let's do that. But like, you can fuck other people. That's pretty much what it gave. And I think he put it in perspective because when you enjoy something, you're actually appreciating it for what it is now instead of thinking about what it can be, like what it's going to be. And I think that you enjoy things way more when you just enjoy it in the moment. And he helped me do that. Because before that, y'all know I was a real big girl on like dating to marry.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the future. Enjoy what's happening now.
You basically said, I'm not going to marry you, but I would like enough to be in a relationship.
You was enjoying what's happening now. It's cute for you.
Period. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Aalim, what do you do? Do you think you're Are you on that wave now?
It was the now for me. I personally, I think what I fall short is I don't get in relationships. Ooh, I don't want to say this on camera. I don't get in relationships and automatically think like, oh, this is something that's going to last forever. I date. If we get to the point where we're in a relationship, we get into a relationship. And then if it's not working, it just doesn't work.
I would say I'm a little different because I feel like there's a lot of things that have to be met before we can get in a relationship.
That's what I'm learning now.
Yeah.
To meet those things before I agree to get in a relationship.
Look, no judgment, sis, you my good girl. But that I will say, oh yeah, I'm just...
That's one step I always skip.
And you know, I'm never telling you what I think you should do. I'm never telling you what I think you should do, but that's one thing about your dating that is like, you know, you run through them like a pair of socks. And so it's because you're just a little bit, but that's what I did admire about you. We were polar opposites when we first met. Like, we've been friends for a very long time. And Aalim was that person, if he was talking to somebody and he liked them and he asked them to be, if they wanted to be in a relationship after a month and a half, they would be in a relationship. Me, I'm like, I need to talk to this dude for a year. I need to know his mother. I need to blah, 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 blah. Like, and we were polar opposites. And I think now we are getting closer and closer to each other. But I think I just spent time.
Because I did that. I did that once. Like, I was like, oh, I gotta wait X amount of years, X amount of months, blah, blah, blah. And you wait and then nothing happens. It's like, I did all that for what?
Yeah. Yeah.
When were you doing that? Middle school?
I was about to say, girl, because you did not give that. When'd you give that?
Band camp?
I can't say a name, but the longest I waited was like, oof, never mind.
I know that's right. 3 weeks.
Never mind.
Not 3 weeks, bitch. No.
It's always about 2 months or less. Or less.
Or less.
We're gonna go or less.
Or less.
Because I just have a habit. It's like, if I feel it, I feel it. But I don't feel the right things. That's the problem. What I learned is like self-inflicted though, because I meet these people and then they meet basic needs, and I get swept off my feet because of that. And then we get into the relationship, and I'm like, well, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. I'm like, well, you should have checked that off before you got with them.
Yeah, yeah.
So you had low standards.
I don't think it's low standards. I
don't think it's low standards. It's
this is what I think. Aalim, he sees a nice car and he drives it. He don't ask about the transmission.
I ended up with the car I have now.
Yeah, he don't.
I didn't even test drive any other cars.
He don't ask about the transmission. He didn't check the engine lights. He didn't kick the tires.
I just knew I needed a car.
Yeah, he needed a car, and it's like on the outside, it looks like a good car. You know, like the door opens nice, it's smooth, but
it lasts a few months.
It lasts a few months. You have to kick the tires. You gotta check the engine light. You gotta see what the transmission is doing. Is the radiator loud? What's that noise over there? You know, Aalim just get in the car. It drives. What's up? Let's go. Where y'all wanna go? That's Aalim.
Very much.
Now that we focus on everybody else, Ronald.
I'm just here to observe and judge.
Honestly, Ronald, come on. The people want to know.
The people do want to know.
The people do want to know.
They do.
Yes, seriously though. Like, what do you think you do, Ronnie?
I very much play the girls until like I'm ready to like commit. And until
in what sense?
Like I'm inconsistent. I don't look for like to talk to them on a daily basis.
But how do you expect for it to get to that point if you don't go through those?
I don't.
So you automatically go to it not expecting it to be anything.
Exactly, because I don't want it to be. Y'all like relationships. I do not like that.
Is it that you don't like relationships, or are you afraid of commitment?
Listen, Oprah. No. That's not it.
Well, have you considered
I
it?
don't like that. Yes, and I have come to the conclusion that they're not for me. They're not for me right now. Right now, I'm focused on other things. They will be for me.
What are you focused on?
Just not right now. Working, my career, my mental growth, emotional growth, childhood trauma. Relationships, I really don't have the capacity for them, so they're non-existent. They're just not around.
And that's fine.
Could that be because of childhood or you know, traumatic situations or something psychological? Possibly, probably. But I just haven't dissected that with my therapist yet. So I feel like y'all think I have all these secrets. It's really just a boring life. Like, it doesn't give anything but this.
I don't think that you have all these secrets. Even if you didn't have anything going on in your relationship or your love life, it's the fact that you never personalize any of the news. You are always a supporter. You're always a giver. You always are a listener. You never make yourself you never.
That for you?
What do you mean?
Like who you are to everybody else. Who is that person for you?
I don't think he has anyone.
Myself.
I was about to say.
Yourself.
It's not a necessity.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I don't like my news to be brought. Like, it's not. Like, I don't need for people to validate me.
That's not about validating all the time. Sometimes you just want to express yourself. I mean, you're expressing yourself now with this bonnet and your glasses. Did somebody need to validate what you're wearing for you to be able to express yourself, your femininity, the things that you like when you wear makeup, all of those things? It's just expression and sharing who you are with the people that you love. That's all I'm saying. I'm not pressuring you.
What is it you would like? What is it that you are?
It ain't about me. It ain't about me. It's not about me. All I'm saying.
In a perfect world, what is it that you want?
It's not about me. I just want to consistently tell you, I've been friends with you for years, Ronald. And I don't pressure it. I make it my responsibility to constantly let you know that this space is open for me to be a listener, for you to be able to talk about things in your life. Even your things with like work, the pandemic, the graduation, you never lament. Like, I'm giving you the space to just lament. I'm not saying I'm requiring it of you, but I'm just saying it's okay to share those things. You know, that's all.
Thank you for providing that space.
But let's not make this a Ronald intervention. I know you don't like this attention.
Okay.
Now,
Let's go back to you.
I feel like all of your relationships, you have helped someone in some way, like in all of your friendships and like your relationships. Like you always have something to give them.
okay.
I don't need anything from you. I just love being around you and being your friend.
And that's fine. I don't need to be needed. It's not about me. And I've said this before, Ronald, and don't do this, because I've said this before. I said, even in the last conversation, I said, even if you do open up, it doesn't have to be me. It's alarming that when Aalim asks you, who is that person for you, you say no one. That's alarming. As a friend, it don't gotta be me. It ain't got nothing to do with me helping you. It's about, I need you to know that your problems still matter as well, and that they hold meaning. It don't have to come to me. I don't have to give you advice. I don't have to be that person for you. But I'm saying that I feel like you minimize your problems in your life and all of that. That's all I'm saying. It don't got no attachment to me.
So you brought up a point, Ronald.
Okay.
When you were talking about Tuh-reek, you said that
it's Gang Up on Nene Day. Okay.
You said Tuh-reek dates people that he dates people that he feels like needs them. Do you agree with that? Do you think you have a habit of dating people that need you?
Absolutely
it's the honest
not.
question. I'm not projecting.
Absolutely
no.
not. Absolutely not.
Prefer not.
Because I have
yet to see him date someone who, I mean, he's a very capable bitch. Like,
I was about to say.
Oh, you're right. Okay, Jalen
did not need him at all.
They were almost here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Jalen.
I don't know. I don't like that. So I don't really seek that out. I want somebody on the same level, and y'all know that. Like, that's what I want. That's
same level where?
Intellectually, emotionally.
Okay.
Emotionally and intellectually. Because I just want somebody to be able to play tennis with me. I want them to be able to return my serve, you know?
That's been very hard for you. Tuh-reek, I feel like it's automatically. He's just very, I don't know the word to describe Tuh-reek, but it's very elevated as far as the way he thinks. And there's not a lot of people that I feel like are his age that can match that.
So when it comes to dating, I just like living. It's so funny because every time when people, like, I'll be dating a guy for like 4 months, right? And I think people don't understand, like, that when I say, like, I'm just having a good time, I'm just getting to know them. And people are like, what does that even mean? Like, why don't y'all just be together, blah, blah, blah. I just don't feel like sometimes some things don't need to be defined. If you're just getting to know somebody and you're having a good time, it's really just that. And sometimes it don't gotta be more than that. Sometimes you don't want exclusivity. Sometimes you don't want commitment. Sometimes you're living your own life, they're living their own life, and you're crossing paths here and there. You're having a good time here and there. Maybe y'all fucking every other day here and there, but that don't mean you gotta be in a relationship. That doesn't mean that has to come with commitment or all of these promises. A relationship to me, a commitment to me is a contract. Now, I don't see it as a business interaction, but it's just like more of like it's a promise. Like when you make all these commitments of like how I can make you happy, what I need to be happy, what I need from you, what you need from me. That's another responsibility that can feel like a lot if you're doing a lot in your life.
Okay, so when does your commitment kick in? Does it kick in at the exclusivity point or the we're in a relationship point?
Well, you can be exclusive before a relationship in my way of dating.
Right. I agree.
Pretty much when I'm exclusive, that can be a safety thing as well, especially if we're having unprotected sex. Because some people...
So that just excludes other people out of it.
If it's sexual exclusivity, because emotional and sexual exclusivity...
What about emotional though?
Emotional is just about investing in other people emotionally, meaning like you can flirt with other people, you can give a 1-2-1-2 at the club with other people, but it's like meeting a person and like, oh, I want to get to know you. If you did decide that you did want to emotionally invest in someone else, that's just when communication becomes very important. Like my process of dating requires a lot of transparency and communication. The reason it does is because it doesn't follow the norms of what dating should look like. The reason that norms exist is because it's something that everyone understands. It's standards of like what is understood as a relationship. Now we are understanding that in a relationship, which is normalized as monogamous, you don't fuck somebody else. But if you're going to go outside the norm, you're creating your own structure, so it requires a lot of communication because y'all have to create the structure together. So if you did decide that you want to emotionally invest in somebody else, then I would say you would have to come back to me and communicate to me what you want. It's all about that. It's just about communicating what you want and what you don't want. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. So that's just how I operate. Now, some people call it bullshit. Ronald makes fun of it all of the time. Like with me and this guy that I was talking to, Ronald always made fun of it, and Denzel always made fun of it because he would always ask about it and be like, "Oh, how's you and boo?"
That didn't make sense though. That didn't make sense. That was very.
That didn't make sense.
Okay, well let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Why didn't it make sense?
I feel like you were learning like your boundaries, what you were cool with, what he would be cool with, and then forming something new from that wasn't conventional, which was appropriate for that. I just didn't fully grasp it. I don't think you did either. I don't think anyone did. I don't think he did.
It's like you were learning as you were doing.
But
what makes sense.
Okay. So what did y'all not get from it? Like what was it that made it so like whatever Tuh-reek to y'all?
I think it was just a set of new rules that I just didn't understand. Like I personally, maybe it was like me looking at it through the personal lens, but what you all were doing, it was like, so that's your boyfriend. He was like, well, no, it's not. It just came off very...
Yeah, there was so much emotion around something that wasn't concrete. So I was just like, why?
Exactly.
And because you were making your own set of new rules, that person was trying to learn them as well. And then that just created another set of confusion. And it was like... Yeah,
he was always so frustrated. And it made it rightfully so, because it was very much like new to everybody.
Now I will say this. I think that, like I said, when you go outside of the norm, it requires a lot of communication and transparency. And so we were defining what our relationship was to each other, with each other. And it didn't need to make sense to everybody else. That's why it probably didn't make sense to you, or it didn't make sense to Ronald or anyone, because it's a relationship that we were building. Not like a commitment, but just our relationship to each other. Just like me and Aalim. When we first met, there were some things I didn't like that he didn't like. That when we first met, I didn't like Aalim calling me girl. I was very uncomfortable with my femininity. I was a new gay, and Aalim would be like, girl, and I'm like, I'm not a girl, don't call me girl. And it's like, and you'd be like, okay, I know that. Yeah, and Aalim used to say faggot, and I didn't like that, but he's like, we're gay, we can say that. Like, you know, like, we're gay, we can reclaim that word. And I'm like, I don't like that, I don't like that. And it was like, Aalim learned how to be my friend. And it was like, that was our friendship. That's not something that is normal to everybody else. Like, we would have to explain that to other people because that's what we define.
I learned not to like that word.
Yeah. So with us, we had something that we knew how our relationship looked and other people wouldn't understand. It's the same in romantic relationships. I think when it comes to romantic relationships, everybody has a black and white version of what that looks like. So when me and say we do have all these emotions, or say we're doing this and that, and it doesn't make sense, is because it doesn't follow the standards and the norms of what that should look like. Now, it becomes confusing because I understand that. I live outside the norms, and in some things I do live in the norm. Like, yes, I shower every day. I wear t-shirts. Like, I live in the norms in some parts of my life. But in the parts that I don't, I know how to go about communicating and writing the rules of what that looks like for me. Did I say his name?
No. You did.
Oh.
I had to bleep that out. No, you did.
You did?
I did.
You did.
You must listen to hard. I swear I didn't hear his name.
Yes, but for the guy that I was dating at the time, he wasn't used to doing that. So it was confusing for him and frustrating because this was his very first time on living outside of the norm. So that's why it became very confusing. But I also realized in hindsight that at some point, I was defining it so much that it was becoming a relationship. Does that make sense? What makes single and what makes it not a relationship is you're doing what you want. It doesn't require that much thought. There's nothing I have to refer back to. There's no like requirements or strings. I realized that it was starting to become a relationship, that we were just not calling a relationship because there were so many different types of terms and explanations for things. And that's when it becomes like, this is an agreement, because like we've described so much that at this point, this is a real relationship.
Yeah, but what always stood out to me was, although it was like new to him and that wasn't his norm, he was always willing to be taught. If that makes sense.
He was.
Like, he loved you enough to learn and adapt to your ways. So I did fuck with that.
Absolutely, he did.
Because most people, no shade, if that was me, I would have been like, do what you do. That's not what I do. But I think when you actually love a person, you're willing to learn what they're teaching you. So that's good. So shout out to him for that.
And I think it also took him understanding that this was what living outside the norm looked like. Like, I think that takes a very intelligent mind to know that this is what that is. Because I will say, in one of my last relationships, he wasn't able to see that, and he only could see, I'm doing boyfriend shit. We've been talking for 4 months. Like, what is this? Like, either this or this. It became an ultimatum. And so I just gave into that pressure rather than just living in outside of the norms and outside of the black and white. So I just...
Some people just can't be taught, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it takes... Yeah. I was gonna say, Ronald, do you see yourself dating outside the norms, or do you like the norms? Because I don't want to push this narrative that like living outside the norm is the way to go. Like, this is the way you should be. Some people like gender norms. Some people like the norms that are already created because it doesn't require as much work. I would say this process requires a lot of work and communication. But Ronald, would you say that you like the norms, or you want to create, you know, your own type of...
50-50, maybe 40-60. I very much take after my mother. So it's she's not very conventional when it comes to her relationships. And I feel like I follow that. I definitely don't see myself living with someone. But I do see myself maybe one day married, but I don't think I'd ever live with them. I think I need my own space.
The difference between me and you, Ronald, well, I won't say the difference between me and you, but you have a lot of requirements and pre-written agreement before you even meet a person. Now, what I was describing was meeting a person, then we write it together. You coming in saying, I'm gonna need my own house, I'm going to need this, I'm gonna need that. Now, you do know when you do that, it's just gonna slim your options down.
Yes, as it should.
Period.
Because I have standards.
Absolutely, and that's fine.
Yeah, not long.
That's so fine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just, it's a very specific person to ask. Like, going into it, I'm going to need, at some point, we're going to need our own houses. We can be together, but I don't want to live with you.
It could be like an apartment that's like right across from my apartment. Something cute like that, but...
Aalim, I want to just give you kudos because I want to say that you have really been doing a good job in this growth of this thing called relationships. Like, I don't know, I don't know, your mindset changes with every relationship, but
it elevates every time.
It elevates. It really does.
I appreciate the time, for however long or short it is, in between those relationships, because I do a lot of self-evaluation and I take that into the next one. And then once that's up, I do it again.
Yes, but let's take some more pending time. More pending time this time.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Girl.
Like, when do you want to be married?
See, I used to plan all that out. I just know I want kids between 30 and 34. Now, if I have a man, I have him with him. If I don't, I have him alone. But I don't plan marriage and all of those things. That was my problem before. Before, I would plan like, oh, I date to marry. We need to be together forever. But think about how much we've changed. So, well, I can't speak for y'all, but how much I've changed so much in this past year. Like, it's ridiculous how much I changed that. In that process of changing, I want different things and I like different things. I mean, years ago, I remember years ago in high school, I was still dealing with my anti-blackness and I loved the Dominican girls and I would only date something lighter than the back of my hand. So it's like what I was attracted to.
Really? I didn't know that.
Huh?
You did
I
it?
know.
I mean, I wouldn't say it out loud, but it was something that was subconscious that I realized. That was something I didn't realize, but I had to put the work in to realize that. And then I had to, when I put the work into loving myself and my blackness and what it means to be black and like what that looks like, African futures and all of that, futurism, texturism, like all of those things that went into that, I started being attracted to different things, and that was just like a couple of years. All of the other things that I'm learning about myself and I'm growing, it's like I become a different person every year, and I don't expect that someone I liked, the guy that I liked when I was going through that anti-blackness is not gonna be the same guy I like now. Does that make sense?
It changes.
Yeah, it changes. So I don't really...
Your preference change as you change.
Yeah, and that's not even preference of physical, but like mental, emotional, like all of those things. So it's like, I don't have any expectations of like, oh, the person I like right now is gonna be here for 5 years. I know right now I love them or I'm with them, and that may change, and that's okay. What makes marriage different is I love you to the core. I've gotten to know you to the core, and I'm going to love you through those changes. That's what makes marriage different than a relationship. Because you could be in a relationship for 8 years, but like, I think a marriage to me, my definition is like, through those changes, I know you to the core, and I'm gonna love you through all of those changes. Like, you may be nice these years, and you may be...
That's what the vows are. That's what the vows are.
Exactly. And so...
Because once I say those vows, I'm committing, like, no matter what we go through, I'm gonna fight until I have no more fight in me. In a relationship, I do not say those vows. I don't say those vows.
I don't say those vows.
We're growing, we're learning. Like,
yeah.
If one day it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna be married, because it depends on when I find that person. I'm not gonna just marry somebody just because I want somebody to be a father to my kids. Absolutely not. I got y'all. If I need help.
Do you have any regrets, or do you wish you would have done anything differently in your past dating experience? The experiences?
None?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Not a thing.
Not he's searching for.
I mean, the only thing that I could remotely think of as a regret was like being, being, I don't want to say I was necessarily pressured into a relationship, but thinking I had to be in a relationship for it to make sense. But it took that happening for me to...
That was your first one though, so you didn't...
Yeah, but it took that happening for me to realize that what that looks like. Does that make sense? So now that I know, like, if this isn't something you want, don't just give into it because you think that's what compromise looks like. That's not what compromise looks like. And so, like, it takes those experiences for you to learn from them. So without that, I probably would do it in the future. So I'm happy that it happened early on rather than me committing to a marriage that I thought, you know what I mean? I'm happy it was just a relationship.
It's a marriage.
Yeah, because, that can happen. I think that happened to a lot of people. So.
Especially back in the day.
When they're young?
Look at your grandparents, like just people grandparents.
Not look at my grandparents.
Not your grandparents, people grandparents. My bad. But people grandparents, like they met and not love each other like at the beginning. But they like created that space for love because we have family now. Like we have kids and we have this and
so.
But I noticed that's a pattern with older guys though.
What?
Like me being 22, if I like date someone a lot like much older than me, I feel that same pressure. Like, oh, because I guess they like ready to settle down or something like that.
Yeah, it's because they old.
Yes, because they old.
Well,
and I'm not always on that wave, but they definitely apply that pressure. Like, oh well, I'm ready to settle down. So what I've learned is just to leave them alone. I personally would not mess with you if you're that old.
What's that old? What name a number?
To me, it's anything over 28 at this point.
Yeah, some 30-year-olds always trying to get married.
I hate it.
Like, let's just have a fun time.
But you do understand a lot of younger people do date people that age for the commitment because it's security for them. So you may seem like different.
So you realize this man took my 20s away from me. And now you hate me.
Well, not really, because he probably provided the financial security for a lot of those 20-year-olds that do want to marry.
And that is where it's rooted, that financial security.
Yeah, always.
I'm
Absolutely.
glad my mama got money.
Absolutely. What? I think it can either
Hold me
be
down.
it can either be rooted in financial security or their maturity. And I think a lot of people don't see the work.
It was a maturity for me.
Yeah, it's maturity, but the people that commit to those people is they don't see when you get a nice thing. Some people are afraid to let that go because they feel like there's not another one out there that they will be able to have. So they're like, "Oh, let me just hang on to this one because I'm scared that if I lose this one, there's not going to be another." So I think that happens a lot.
That's facts.
And that's all about, you know, optimism and self-worth. You have to know that there's going to be somebody else out there. There's millions of people. I'm going to find somebody. And two, I'm worthy. Like, I am good enough to find somebody else that sees that in me.
Wow, that's literally what me and my therapist talked about yesterday.
And I don't even have a degree in therapy. So what did I tell you? Look.
That is exactly what we talked about yesterday.
Absolutely.
I had a bad habit of dating that way.
Mm.
Like, I would, not overcompensate, but overextend myself to the point where I felt like if I didn't, I wouldn't find nobody else like that. It's like, well, I gotta apply all this pressure because if I don't, I'm lose this person, and then I'm not gonna find anybody else like that. And there's something wrong. I'm not gonna say something's wrong with me, but there's like a mental hold that I have on myself where if I'm alone, I start feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough because they're not really fucking with me like that. So I've had.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm working on now. That's what I'm working on now. That's why it's so hard for me to be alone sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's like if I am, I feel like, damn, I'm not good enough because I ran this person off. This person don't want to fuck with me. Woo, woo, woo.
I'm the complete opposite. I go into.
That's why I say I envy. That's why I said I envy him for that. I envy him for that.
There's not nobody in this world that can do what I can do. In many instances and scenarios, okay? I ain't a prize, okay, sweetie?
I view
You
that.
get with the
I'm the same.
I'm on my way there right now.
I would say for me, I know I'm a prize. I would say I put a lot of more energy into relationships, like dudes, than I did before. Remember back in the day, if you gave me one problem, bye, on to the next.
We switched.
Y'all,
a year ago.
We switched.
I used to be that so bad. Like, I was like, one inconvenience, okay, nah, I'm not putting energy into this. But now, like, I just find myself putting a lot of energy into dudes. Like, you know, like to the point where if you do lose your cool, I'm like sitting here impatient for you to calm down so we can have a conversation. Before, I'm like, okay, you go have your temper tantrum, bye. Like, oh, he got anger issues, I'm not talking to him. But like now, I see people as human. I don't expect people to be perfect anymore. Because I just realized I'm not perfect. And I have my moments too. And I can be high maintenance too. And before, I just thought I was, honestly, a prize. And you had to amount up to me. Not realizing that I'm human just as other people, you know? I may not have anger issues, but I got these issues. And so we just meet each other where we are. So that's where I grew.
I'm glad you realized that.
What you trying to say, Ronald?
I mean, not everybody can be a prize.
Girl, and on that note, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. I want to thank Ronald for being a part of this conversation, Aalim for being a part of this conversation. I will have their @ and their tags in the description. Aalim has his own clothing label. Please check it out. He makes amazing jeans. He's an amazing designer. Ronald is at home.
I'm on unemployment.
He's on unemployment. If you do work at a high luxury brand and y'all have opening positions in marketing and sales, please hit him up.
Resume speak for itself.
Absolutely, he has a resume. Now, thank you, Tabies, for watching this video. If you love this video, please let me know. Comment what you think. And yeah, that's all. Say goodbye, guys.
Shout out to everybody. It's been fun.
I had fun.
Absolutely.